At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right. Let's do this. Sadly, the final post-game show until football. So let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Yo. That was a pathetic yo. I know. It's hard to have energy after that. That was... First off, let's start this thing off with this. I realize baseball, when they lose, it's, we want to rant, and that's fine. Feel free to rant. I get it, the criticisms and everything. I've had one guy blame me for Arkansas losing. I don't know. I have at it, I guess, whatever. He doesn't want you giving me viewership, so you have that option on the table. But I do appreciate you guys being here. But I want to say thank you to Patreon supporters. I mean, the way I see it is this is the end of this season for me, right? Because it goes preseason football in August when we got on that regular schedule, right? Fall camp, football, basketball, and then we kind of got into, we did a little bit more and more baseball. So to me, that's like a full season. It comes to an end for me, for the post-game shows, until football, until we get back on a regular streaming schedule. Keep in mind, I am also I run Hogville Net YouTube as well, so I have no idea what that's going to look like. But content will continue to be pushed here, for sure. I will be live. I don't know how much more I'll be live here. If I'm going to, again, we don't know what the plans are for Hogville Net at the moment. We're all trying to get this thing put together as the season comes to an end, as baseball comes to an end. So shout out to Patreon supporters. You guys, like I said, this channel is staying up. This channel is not going away. I got to tip my cap to Patreon supporters, and I'm going to continue to need your support to keep this channel up and running. And of course, Direct Service Overhead, the Tuss Talk with Ty show sponsor, the very first sponsor of this channel, and he's still here. So shout out to Travis Ford. But again, that's Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. They offer same-day services, emergency service 24/7, 365 days a year, free estimates, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Again, that's 501-244-3667. Not how we envisioned this at all. I really liked Arkansas's chances. Chat's going a little bonkers on Dave Van Horn, I think. I didn't think I really, like I said, I didn't know what to expect out of the bullpen, and of course Arkansas didn't even force these guys to go deep into their pen, like at all. They didn't force them to go to their pen at all. I mean, that guy pitched a complete game. And it's just, and I get the criticism. Listen, the same old story, like Clark Peters just tweeted at me on Twitter. He's right. It is the same old story. This is 11 trips. 11 trips that you have made to Omaha, and you're coming home with no hardware. It's unfortunate. I'm going to tell you this. The grass is not always greener on the other side of the hill for those of you who are wanting Dave Van Horn to retire or to fire, or want him to be fired. The grass is not always greener. I think it would be a massive mistake, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon. The guy just took you to the College World Series for the 11th time in school history. If Hunter Yurichek were to make a move on him, that would be it would not look good. I'll just say that. The only way I see any change happening is if Dave Van Horn just decides to hang him up, and I hope that he doesn't. I feel like I've said this before a number of times, including last year. When you consider how badly things ended a year ago when you dropped your own super regional to NC State. And you saw what happened at Tennessee this year, the exact same thing. Different team, but they lost in their own supers. College baseball is a fickle, weird, bizarre animal. I do think Arkansas is a more talented team than Ole Miss. I think Arkansas is more talented than probably the majority of college baseball. One of the top two in terms of talent in this conference. And look how far they went. I mean, they showed that off, and they lost to a team that, you know what? It was the right guy on the right day. It was the right guy on the right day for them, and he's been good, obviously, for Ole Miss. And they've got the arms. I don't know how they're going to pan out against Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a really good defensive team. I think they have 3, maybe 4 really solid hitters. Again, I was going to kind of cross that bridge if Arkansas got past Ole Miss, then I was going to start doing my Oklahoma homework. So obviously I don't know anything about Oklahoma, but talking to a buddy of mine who is an OU baseball fan, he says that he favors Oklahoma. In fact, he thinks Oklahoma takes care of business pretty easily. But then again, that's just kind of the nature. I'm not gonna lie to you, Oklahoma fans are pretty cocky. I mean, let's just throw it out there. Them and Tennessee fans have that in common. But they backed it up. They're there. They're playing, and they're going to be well rested. They're going to have more arms available. But it's not like Arkansas did anything. They didn't do Oklahoma any favors today. Other than getting to this game, they didn't do Oklahoma any favors. Arkansas hitting, and again, it's hard. It's really hard to fault. This guy was incredible on the mound, but yet again, they couldn't manufacture. They left guys stranded. Tried to, I guess, play small ball, then decided, you know what, never mind. And they're trying to make bunts or trying to bunt, and then they would kind of back off that game plan. There was no consistency at all on the plate. On the mound, I thought it was terrific. Eventually, we knew if Arkansas, if either of the two teams were going to get hot, it was going to be a problem because the pitching was so good. 2 runs felt like 10. And you have to tip the cap to Ole Miss. I mean, they pitched really well. I still think Arkansas is a better, more talented team. I think that's the case almost every year in the SEC for Arkansas. But, they caught fire. You remember a little while back we talked about how on fire they were. I said I didn't want to play these guys. You asked me between them and Auburn, who would you want to face in an elimination game for the chance to play in the finals? I said, give me Auburn. And that was before they stomped Auburn and eliminated them coming into this series, or coming back into this game, rather. Ole Miss was still probably the most on-fire team when you consider they hadn't lost a game. They weren't giving up runs. They weren't giving up hits. Their pitching was just on fire, and they were doing really well at the plate. This is not the game that I really wanted, and Ole Miss just showed, you know what, we're hotter than you are right now. And I'm not going to go with the we wanted it more bullshit. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen anyone. They wanted it more. Are you really? They wanted it more? You're telling me that those guys, they wanted it more. What a cop-out excuse. That's such a cop-out. They were just better today. How about that? And they were better than you when they spanked your ass. Both these teams were coming into Omaha. They're both coming in on fire. Ole Miss was a little bit more hot than Arkansas was. They didn't want it more. Both these teams wanted it. Try telling Dave Van Horn that. Hey, and by the way, if he does say that, I'm not going to buy it. I have heard coaches say that. I don't ever buy that. In this position, I definitely don't think Ole Miss wanted it more. I think they both wanted it badly. Did you see the faces? The Razorbacks in the dugout. Yeah, tell me those guys didn't want this. They know, and they're going to hear about it. Twitter's going to light them up. Hopefully, they stay off Twitter. God forbid. And they're gonna have a rough travel home. And then I urge you, you know what? When you see these guys, if you're in Fayetteville, tell them, hey, you know what? Ole Miss just wanted it more. I've always hated that. And I think I've probably said it out of anger. And I get it. People do say it out of anger. But I don't think that's the case. I know it's not the case. Bench today for them went 2 for 4. Bench was the problem the first time Arkansas played them around. He was really the only thorn in their side. And then Graham went 2 for 4. Ended up 339. Bench at 316. Arkansas with a not a lot going on here at all. I mean, just 4 hits. 4 hits ain't going to do anything. 4 hits, 0 manufactured runs, 0 runs. You're only struck out 7 times. If you were to tell me, oh, well, they only K'd, 7 times, I would assume, okay, were they able to get on base? Not really. Oh, all right. Well, they at least had a couple of runs. No, they're held to nil. They were a nil. And nobody could get a hit off this guy. In fact, it was Wallace all the way down to Moore, the only guys in that lineup that got a hit. So that's your 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters. Your 6-hole guy all the way down to Moore. Your guys with hits. Wallace, Turner, Lenzilli, Moore. Yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating. I say they played harder. I agree with you on that shit. Pisses me off. Yeah, and this is the other thing too. It's just we're all frustrated. Everyone's a little frustrated, and we're gonna say things. I've definitely said things frustrated. You're trying to, I don't know. I don't want to say make excuses. They just got outplayed. I'll say that. Well, we're gonna have to deal with Texas and Oklahoma soon, also. Well, I mean you still got a little ways for that, Ash. But yeah, I hope OU whips Ole Miss. Yeah, you're rarely ever gonna hear me say this. But when it comes to Ole Miss, Boomer Sooner. Boomer Sooner, man. Whoop that ass. I do not want both the Mississippi schools, and that is a realistic possibility that both the Mississippi schools are going to take home the hardware before Arkansas. That bothers me, man. Exactly. Dave Van Horn is our guy, and he's the best coach in college baseball. And somebody else that wins as much as him and takes you to postseason as much as him, if you do, I'll give you $1 million. It's baseball, says Skills 404. Yeah, I mean it's what it is. It's baseball. I mean and what's sad about it is that Connor Nolan pitched yet again another great day. Connor he went 8 innings. Now he did give up 7 hits, but only 2 runs. 7 strikeouts. Taylor comes in and does what he can. It's not on pitching. It's not on fielding. They just could not hit. It's just as simple as that. Some days you got it. Some days you don't. And then, of course, you got to deal with you got to deal with a guy on the mound that is just unhittable. Question is, again, can they get by Oklahoma's? I mean, Oklahoma, I don't know if they're better than Arkansas is in terms of pitching combined with fielding, but they are damn good. Yeah, man, this dude pitched 9 innings. Arkansas did no favors for Oklahoma here. So if you're an Oklahoma fan and you just stumble by this live stream and you're like, well, what happened? Nothing good for you. DeLucia pitched 113 pitches, gave up just 4 hits, and he pitched the shutout all 9 innings. They didn't go into their bullpen at all. And we said you got to get on them early. You got to get on them early tomorrow. And it looked like that might be the case. And then he, you know what? He gathered himself and he pitched a hell of a game. Tip of the cap, you know. I'm not going to be that fan that's like, ugh, you know, to hell with you. Well, maybe I am. Maybe I am just a little bit. But you got to tip your cap. They played better today. I do think had they faced any other pitcher, I feel like they win. I do. I feel like they, you know, a game that close. Texas sucks as bad as Ole Miss. Well, Ole Miss is playing for it all, Vince, so I don't know that that's much of a diss. Arkansas is going to be watching this game from their couch. To be completely honest, I'm not a baseball guy to begin with, so this doesn't kill me like a March Madness loss or a bowl loss. Great season, and hopefully Dave can finally get him one next year. They're going to be losing a lot, I think, next year. They're going to be losing a lot. You know, and we'll probably get into baseball later on. This will probably be the last bit of baseball that I cover here until next season. It just doesn't sell the tickets here. A loss after a basketball game, we still have over 100 people in here. A loss after a football game, we have a couple hundred people in here. A loss after a baseball game, 50, 60 people. You know, videos just struggle. The live streams struggle. It's just the nature of it. Majority of the audience is football. And we're getting there. We're crawling our way. And listen, I'm thankful because had you told me back in May, hey, look, Arkansas baseball content is going to keep you going until damn near the end of May or the end of June, I wouldn't have believed you. And here we are. I mean, man, I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for Dave Van Horn. I'm glad that these guys did catch fire in postseason. I'm glad that they got it figured out at the plate for the most part into the NCAA tournament. They beat some damn good teams on the way here. They eliminated some damn good teams on the way here. They truly are. I think when the dust settled, they were a top 3 team in college baseball, and they proved that. They proved that getting to this point. It might be debatable if Ole Miss, if we weren't playing today, right? If Ole Miss had just knocked Arkansas out when they had the opportunity to yesterday. Now I have to root for OU. I know. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I get it. Hey, the few OU fans I know are honestly cool people. You know, one of my former roommate years ago, big OU guy. He's also an Arkansas grad. He comes in here every once in a while. Donley, he roots for the Hogs, so I'm going to root for his OU Sooners. I'm going to root for him. I'm not rooting for Ole Miss. Anything that Lane Kiffin is involved with, I'm not rooting for him. All this Texas is back BS is annoying. Yeah, someone brought it up in our Discord. How soon until he hits the portal? Yeah, and you know, commits these days, you just don't know. Like there was a time when someone committed and they signed. It was like, oh, all right, you know, you weren't concerned about them hitting the portal and leaving. Now it's like, hope he stays. Hope he doesn't get beat out and then decide he wants to transfer. Never going to win it all with Dave Van Horn. We'll have everything except the national title. And I'll say this, Kyle, maybe you're right. But again, the grass isn't always greener, right? And you're still a powerhouse without the hardware. Arkansas baseball is a household name to high school prospects across the country. Dave Van Horn is one of the most recognizable names. When you talk to these families, right, that have kids that are playing high school ball and they're prospects, they want to be recruited and offered by Arkansas. That's the level that Arkansas baseball is at. Yeah, they don't have the hardware. It sucks. Some people just don't realize how damn hard it is to get the hardware. Who is it? Florida State that has like 20 trips and doesn't have a title? Is it Florida State? 23 trips and no titles? Miami has, I think, 12 trips, maybe one title. Or 11 trips and one title. Some people don't understand how hard it is, especially when you lose a game in Omaha. Now you're having to backtrack, right? Your bullpen, you better have some arms. And Arkansas had the arms. It wasn't arms that beat them. It was lack of hitting, no presence at the plate. You have to tip your hat off to the Ole Miss pitcher. Yeah, he shut us down, and you have to give him credit. Sure, Connor Nolan did all he could. I agree, Paps. Texas is West Arkansas until they beat us. I love it. I love it. I give him till his sophomore year, says Ash. That's pretty funny. Never going to convince me Dave Van Horn is the reason the Hogs lost. Yeah, you're not going to convince me of that. No, you're not. He can't. I mean, he's not hitting, right? And sometimes I don't even like that excuse when we talk about like football. Well, they're not out on the field, trying to block or whatever, or when you complain about play calling. I think that's valid. But I think today, for an example, it's a good example to show you that you can't put this on the coach. It's just their guy on the mound was on fire. Their guy on the mound, they call him DeLucia. I mean, he crushed. They had no answer for this cat at all. Kelly Williams, the pitcher was lights out. I agree. Occasionally, that's baseball. Exactly. We had double plays and well hit balls. The pitcher keeps coming back with better stuff. We barely missed 2 RBI to Moore and stole. Yeah. Again, it just is what it is. That's baseball. And some people just cannot, like football. It's so much different. I think, when you look back at Kendall Briles, there was definitely some. The play call selection was questionable at times. Right, it was questionable. And look, I'm not saying you can't criticize Dave Van Horn. There have been moments where I've criticized him. Some of the going to the bullpen, like what he did last night. Thought that was a little sketch, and we've seen him do that a few times. And listen, that's okay. I think fans should have the right. Media and fans should have the right to go, wait a minute, Dave Van Horn's not God. We can criticize the guy, but today's not one of the. Today's not an example of that. Today it's just again the guy on the mound for Ole Miss just shuts you down. This is the last time I hit like for baseball. Oh, well, okay. You're gonna sacrifice your boy here because you don't like baseball because it doesn't go your way? Come on now. Everything we hit was right to them. Yeah, they were just good positioning. I figured Arch Manning would go to an SEC team. Yeah, I did too, Vince. I did too. The real question after this is Dave Van Horn can win it all. No, but I'll tell you what he can do. I mean, maybe he can't. I don't know. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. But he's done more than just keep Arkansas relevant. And when you look at our track record in the other sports, that's not easy to do. And then when you consider the SEC is you talk about Taj Mahal, you talk about like the elite of the elite, and the fact that he keeps you relevant, and doesn't just keep you relevant, keeps you at the top of the top in this conference. Listen, man, you can look around college baseball, some prominent jobs where, they fire a guy or someone retires or whatever, and they hire the next up and comer. Great hire on paper. And they can't host, they can't make tournament, or they do make the tournament. They don't even make it supers. They don't make it to Omaha. I don't think Kopesky, and you're a good example of this, my man. I don't think you understand just how difficult it is to get here and how difficult it is to win it all. And obviously, Arkansas is 0 for 11 at doing it. And I also get the complaint that, man, come on, let's 1 year before Dave retires, can we at least get the hardware? And I agree. I hope that happens. I mean, if it doesn't, he's kept you more than relevant. He's kept you at the top. In college baseball, by the way, this is the most popular it's ever been in its history. It's the most exposure it's ever had. ESPN, the main channel, talks the most about it compared to than they ever have in its entire existence. And Arkansas's at the forefront of that. They're one of the top 3 schools that are mentioned, and you're there because of, yeah, that's right. And I know some of you hate to admit it, but it's because of Dave Van Horn. The next guy up may not be able to do that. The next guy up, although, good Lord, if Dave Van Horn does retire in the next couple of years, well, that next guy is taking over. Good grief. I mean, the facilities, the fan support, the money, the influence that Arkansas baseball has, good Lord. For the year, damn Ty, you in a bad mood. Well, I'm not in a great mood, but I'm not sure what you're talking about. And plus, Van Horn will have a national title before he retires. Marks my word. Yeah, I think it's on the table. I do for him, obviously. If he's getting you to Omaha this often, you feel like he's going to eventually. And listen, if he doesn't, my God, it's not the end of the world. There are so many, not even casual baseball fans that are complaining right now. Like, where they're at. Again, man, look at the other sports. Football's trending up. Basketball's really trending up. But, yeah, you won a title and you played back-to-back Final Fours in the 80s and 90s. Of course, 94, 95 in the NBA Finals. Basketball. But then you see how far they fell when they were down. I mean, the 2000s were a giant embarrassment. Baseball has been consistent for 20 years. In fact, it's actually trending up, believe it or not, the last 5 years. When you look at recruiting and you look at the trips to Omaha and everything, it's incredible. I kind of feel like if Dave Van Horn left now, it would be, too early. He's in his 60s. I don't know. DVH is Arkansas in the mix, but who takes us over? Who takes over to get us over the hill? I'm thinking DVH retire. You think DVH is retiring? I don't know, man. I don't think anyone in here is in a good mood. Yeah, I'm not in a great mood. I'm not going to lie. This kind of sucked. I've enjoyed these post-game baseball shows. I really have. I'm glad this one's over early. I'm going to get to go smoke a cigar. I haven't been able to do that because these games have been so late. Man, I might actually get I'm not doing any more content this week. This is it. I've done so much content the last few days. This is it. I say that. Knowing me, I'll probably get the itch and I'll want to do something. But, yeah, I feel like this is it for the week. And then we'll be back next week. There's so much content out there. And again, if you haven't watched it already, Hogville Net, I've got the interview with Otis Kirk on Hogville Net YouTube. Go check that out. Hog fans are definitely starving for the Natty. And you're not wrong. I agree with that. They are. They're hungry for it. I mean, in the big three sports. I mean, let's be honest. I hate to say this, and I'm glad that the track program exists. I'm glad that track is where it's at. But let's be real. I don't cover track here. I couldn't name two people who run track at Arkansas, and I'm being honest. And that's not a diss towards them at all. The track program is elite. And, I just know that if, I mean, that's difficult to cover as it is. And we cover the big three here. And, but I agree that fans want the hardware in the three most popular college sports. And I think a baseball trophy, a national title trophy would have, oh my gosh, it would have sent people over the moon. Dixon would be wild. I was thinking about that last night. I couldn't sleep. For real, I could not sleep last night. I just kept thinking about, okay, if they win, and I thought for sure, I felt pretty good. I won't, okay, that's a lie. I didn't feel pretty good. I talked to my dad. I don't know if he's still in chat. He asked me my confidence. I said, not super high. I'm being honest. I did pick him to win yesterday, but I told him my confidence isn't super high because I know Ole Miss is about to pitch a stud on the mound. But I was thinking in my head, okay, can I get equipment down there? Can I maybe, can I set up somewhere on Dixon? I was just ready for it. I mean, because I felt like they were that good. I felt like they were that close and they're that good. All the cylinders seem to be clicking. And then they just run into a wall. It's really unfortunate. Imagine winning a championship in football. That would be a dream come true. Yeah, it would. Whoever takes over for DVH is getting the keys to Bugatti. Yeah. And all thanks to DVH. So, M. Houston says they were just tired, man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was the case. Regardless, guy on the mound dominated. Hopefully basketball next year. Oh, man. Talk about another sport that's damn hard to – I mean, there isn't a sport that's easy. I still think football's the most difficult because top of the top, I mean, you know, the richest of the rich programs just have a monopoly on this stupid, terrible playoff system. Not that I'm not even sure that expanding it changes that a whole lot. I think it's more entertaining for fans. I think you see less players opt out of bowl games when they're playing for an opportunity to possibly play to win it all. And I think it's better for the fans. I don't know that it changes. It's probably still going to be Alabama, I don't know, Georgia, and then name 2 other schools from, Ohio State, whatever. But I think it makes it more entertaining and it gives more schools an opportunity. But it is what it is. I think college football is still the hardest. You got to get by Alabama. You got to get by Georgia. And when they're down, you got to deal with, if you do make it that far, then you got to deal with either Ohio State, Clemson, whoever, so on and so forth. Hell of a season. Yeah, it was. It was a good year. It was a real good year. What a time to be alive. All 3 sports you feel like we could take it all the way. I would say 2 out of the 3 for sure. Yeah. No, football, no, I'm not there. No, I don't. I think they're still the talent level is still just too low on football. Got the coaching staff I really like. They're in a really good position. We'll see what they do this year. And that's the next thing on my agenda, actually. I had it right here. We're gonna do the too early picks. At the end of June, I'm gonna do a too early pick. The closest we will ever come. I will say this. Of the big 3, though, all 3 are trending in a great they're trending in the right project, they're trending in the right direction. And that's what feels, wonderful. Right? Like, yeah, okay, football probably won't win it all, but is 10 wins? Are 10 wins on the table for Razorback football? Baseball, I mean, with Dave Van Horn, it doesn't really seem to matter. I don't know. It's way too early to talk about what they're going to do next year in baseball. But let's be honest, no matter what it looks like, you're still going to have a lot of fans that, it's going to be Omaha or bust. I don't know if that's going to be reality. And then basketball, the reality is that could be a Final Four team taking the floor next year. It's pretty spectacular. From Palfrey to John L. Smith and Chad Morse, how could a Hog fan be bitching about any sports right now, especially Dave Van Horn? Well, John, yeah. Avoid Twitter. I'd recommend avoiding Twitter. I haven't been on it. I don't know if it's really that toxic yet, but I'm just gonna say it probably is. NBA draft. Yep, you got the NBA draft on at 6, right? Is it 6 p.m.? A lot of it depends on KJ and how much he can improve. Yeah. I don't think he needs to improve a ton, but I think, there's definitely some aspects, maybe a couple areas he might need to improve on just a little bit. Probably still needs work in the passing game. But it's hard to argue with just 3 picks, I've already seen it. That's why I'm here. All right, that's it. Last post game of anything until football. This is it. So take it all in. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Again, if you want to continue, and I hope that you do, for those of you that are Patreon supporters, that list right there, man, you guys just I really do appreciate you. Please, if you're interested, I'm going to need the support. I want to keep this channel up and running. I mean, I'm still full-time here. Make no mistake about that. The content will slow down because this is a rough time of year when you get into July. We'll still have a lot of recruiting stuff. This month is not over with recruiting. I think they do end up with at least 3 commits before maybe the second week of July. Now, actually could be more than that, but we're kind of waiting on a couple of players. They do have, I think right now the number's 3. It's either 2 or 3 guys that are committed, that are silent, that you don't know about yet. I'm sure I'll bring them up and talk about them next week. I'm going to enjoy these next few days with my kiddos. It's just going to be me and them until the wife gets back from Vegas on Sunday. So I'm going to enjoy the next few days. I'm going to try and stay out of here. I'm going to turn the lights off. This is going to be off for a few days, and then I'll be back at it next week, creating and producing content here and on Hogville Net YouTube. So I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Again, the PayPal, someone donated to PayPal last night. That was incredible. To all the Patreon supporters, Super Chat folks, I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thanks for liking and being a part of this community. And I realize a lot of people are not super thrilled right now. We're eliminated again for the 11th time out of Omaha, but you know what? It still was a hell of a year. Tip of the cap to Ole Miss. Tip of the cap to this Razorback baseball team, Dave Van Horn and his staff. And, yeah. And, of course, special shout-out to Direct Service Overhead, Travis Ford and the boys. So, until next week, unless we have some monster news, until next week, woo pig suey. Go Hawks.